thank you, Don. My mother had a gamble store. Remember the gamble store? You know, the young folks in here, Grace and all the people, you won't remember gamble stores, but we remember gamble stores. And so all our family's been in small business for generations. But there are growth engines out there that we can take advantage of, that the government can get out of the way on. For example, the gas regulations, we need to rewrite those back to where they were, best practices, reasonable man standards, and that'll allow us to go back into the competitive field. People will argue with me that the reason we lost these energy jobs is because of the national decline in the economy. I say, okay, look at the graph. There's the number of rigs going down, so rig count is going down. Look at Colorado when the oil and rig came in. It went at a decline like that. So there's clearly a margin there. That's a growth engine. The U.S. military, what you have here in Colorado Springs, is a huge growth engine. Instead of having a governor that calls up and sticks it in their face like Ritter does, and by the way, Hickenlooper never once crossed the street on any of these to say you're overreaching. Despite the fact, for example, in energy, there's 27,000 jobs in the metropolitan area that depend on, that are energy jobs, 8 million square feet of office space. Never went across the street. Never went across the street on this military stuff and said, boy, this is an overreach. Can't you just make a phone call, you know, to one of the generals, or, you know, if you have to, the Secretary of Defense, if you can get in. And by the way, I think we know how to get in there and have a chat with them. Why don't you handle that way? Instead of publicly letting the military know, well, we want to be a reputation as the only state that said to the U.S. Army, in essence, you know, get lost. So there's a huge growth engine there. Colorado tourism, as I said in my last meeting, I used to think, I was on the Colorado Tourism Board at the very beginning, and I used to think the #1 site was, of course, you know, Glen Canyon or Cypress, or, well, it's the U.S. Air Force Academy. It's the #1 visited tourist site. That's a growth engine that, you know, has kind of become a stepchild in Colorado. It's one we can go into, we can help the tourism industry, help encourage it, help promote it, and turn it. And the fourth thing, and then I'll cut this question, but the fourth thing is, the fact that came up in the last meeting, Scott, we need to go out and get business into Colorado. I said, well, I agree with that. I mean, if we have an opportunity, what we have to stop first is the leakage. Just lost Quest. We lost Frontier Airlines on taxes. Down here, we have a lady named Maura McGuire who's trying to start a software company. She got nailed on these taxes. Your restaurants here, the steel mill down there in Pueblo, $2–3 million a year tax increase. Those of you that may have been concessionaires for Amazon.com, what Amazon did, they fired the concessionaires and all and said, look, we don't have a contract, we'll just move it across the border. You know, you can do it in Wyoming, Nevada or something, we'll go with somebody wants us. That's how government can help go to a Don and say, Don, and 97%, by the way, of growth of jobs in this state is from small business. Now, who knows what small really means, but it's not the Safeways and the city markets or the big things. It's those software people that work as independent contractors for Boeing or serve food out here at Fort Carson. I'm very conscious of that, and my educational background is business. I know how to rev up that engine. And the first rule is to stay out of your way, Don, so you can grow that business, and I want you to do it.